and it's actually Brand Insider BTS, and if anyone, it features senior women brand marketers, and I love sharing their stories. It's a video podcast, so if you have anyone you want to suggest that we sort of pull back the curtain on, let me know, and would love to set it up. So, well, again, thank you. I love being here. This is just my favorite event. Stein Erikson is amazing, and I always tell everyone it's Hallmark come to life, Hallmark movie. And yes, I am a Hallmark girl, and it's such an amazing location. So it's awesome. I notice a lot of new people, but a lot of the regulars that we've seen a lot. So it's great because they bring the excitement and then it's contagious to all the new people. So we're going to really have a lot of fun over the next few days. So, which is probably needed right now, because I know it's been a roller coaster for you guys this past few years. I mean, since COVID, really consumer behavior and how they're interacting with search engines has really drastically changed. And it's really all about what we're experiencing, between inflation and civil and global unrest. Health issues, all of these concerns, these are all really shaping the way consumers are behaving and how they're searching and just how they're interacting with brands. Now, in response to this, and also the changing digital landscape, marketers are moving away from a traditional engagement to connected experiences, meaning they're really trying to develop purposeful relationships through AI. Now, as we know, AI has been impacting the way consumers search online. And with today's consumer, especially as I mentioned since COVID and the expectations, it's not enough anymore for a brand to just offer a product or a service. Really, people want personalized, relevant content and experiences. They expect you to know more than just their first name. And with AI's increased data volumes and their tailored algorithms, you guys are really able to now find out more about customers to create that more customized content for them. Also, as I mentioned since COVID, the expectations of things happening right away. I know Jeff touched on it. When consumers have a problem or they have a question, they want to get an answer immediately. They don't want to wait 24 hours for an email or maybe even longer. So really, the leveraging chatbots and virtual assistants really enable brands to engage with consumers in real time so they can solve their problems and answer any questions they have. And you know what? I've had a chance to talk with a lot of you while prepping for this and getting ready for it. And what's really impressing me is the way you've all been adapting and really experiencing all of these new things that you're facing. Like all the tech advances that I just mentioned and so many more. You're embracing that, or at least trying. All the digital expectations, all of these changing behaviors. It's really amazing how well you've been able to adapt and really pivot what you're doing and really test new things. Now, I know this is going back a bit, but remember when it seemed like Google was the only game in town? That was where you found any information you wanted online. Well, those days are certainly over. It's now consumers have so many options, and the channels they go to really depends on their demographic. Baby boomers, millennials, Gen Z, Gen X, they're all trying to find you online, but on very different channels. And it's so important for you to really embrace the different channels. Know your audience, know where they're going, what they're looking for. And that's the only way really you're going to keep up with the competition and really just drive that traffic. Now, we're going to be talking about all of this over the next few days. And it's really going to be coming from different angles depending on each day. Like today, we're really focusing on AI. So obviously, we can't have this summit without talking about AI. Offers a lot of benefits, but there's also a lot of confusion. It can be pretty overwhelming. And I think that's why there's a hesitancy for some people to actually embrace it. And that's what we really want to try to sort out today. So, I mean, AI isn't new. It's been around for decades. So why now is it so relevant? Why now is it the buzzword that everyone has to include in their strategy? Well, it's because of those AI-driven marketing tactics that I've just been mentioning, how hyper-targeted and contextually relevant it is for your content and for really brands to really establish that closer connection, that deeper connection with consumers. It's also faster and more efficient than most humans in the office. And it gives you the chance to do things faster and also frees up your time to do things that may be a little bit more complex. It will do the grunt work or the work that maybe some of your employees are done. There's so many different ways you can turn an ad. Well, then maybe that's where the AI jumps in. It also can help save money. And for instance, photo shoots, we all know, can be pretty expensive. Well, Adore Me wanted to save money. So what they did is they started sort of testing generative AI for images. And you'll see, it's really cool what they came up with, because not only are they doing it well, in some cases better, and it's also at a fraction of the price. So we're going to hear about that today. Also, AI-powered bidding is driving performance. It's giving media buyers a chance to have more transparency and control. But it isn't all rosy. And again, what Jeff mentioned, he always gives such great input when he speaks up here. But it's true. If you remember the report last week from Adlytics saying how Google placed some pretty big brands' ads, their search ads, on porn sites and other less friendly sites that any brand would really want to be on. So there's really a trust issue. And there's also, as I mentioned, about being hesitant. There's so much, it's overwhelming, and people just don't know what they want, where to make of it. And also, budgets are tighter. So there's a lot out there. Where do you invest your money? And this is what today is all about. We have a panel. They're going to be breaking it all down for you today. And just as the description says on the agenda, if you read the agenda, it's really about the good, the bad, and the ugly of AI. Now, tomorrow we're going to be focusing mainly on omni-channel strategies and how they're really evolving. And this is vital because, as I said earlier, you really need to get to know your consumers. You need to know where they are, what channels they're using. It's no longer everything on one channel. That doesn't make sense business-wise, and it doesn't make sense in terms of where our audiences are going. You need to be ready to adapt and to go where they are. Now, we're going to have a panel discussing just that. And also, we're going to hear from Verizon Value Brands talking about their aha moment when they sort of switched their mindset to a startup mindset, meaning they started going after the competition rather than protecting their brand. And they used some different channels, traditionally less measurable channels, and also some really innovative search tactics for this campaign. And they saw some great results. So we'll hear that. And also, finally on Saturday, well, we're kind of bringing it all together for you. How are marketers reaching customers, and how are they finding them? Well, for Indeed, it was all about the data and how they're using that information to maximize their customers' digital experience. We'll also hear from Books, and who, like many of you, maybe there's an issue of too much in Google, too much investing there. They didn't like all of their eggs in one basket. So they started looking around to see what other options are out there. And what's pretty interesting is they found connected TV to be not only effective, but scalable as a marketing tactic. So we're going to hear about that. We also have a panel discussing all of today's search trends. And as I mentioned, it's all about where your demo is going. Social media is definitely a big part of that. HubSpot did a survey, and they said that 31% of consumers are using social search. So it's right now, that's where people are going, especially the younger audiences. And those demos are growing. They're getting older, they're getting bigger jobs, they're getting more money, and they're more of a power play for the audience you want to attract. So you need to be very aware of the audience, of the demographics, and social media is a huge part of that, as well as other channels that they'll be discussing. They'll talk about what's working and what's not. They'll also talk about how media buys are influencing search. And so this is something that you really want to get into, something I actually wasn't even aware that was what he had to say, wasn't something that I even thought about, and I'm sure a lot of you will learn a lot from that. So you definitely don't want to miss that. So, of course, before I get into our first speaker, we have our signature roundtables, and these are the heart of our conference. And as I saw, about half of you guys are new, half have been here. So for the ones who are new, I'll sort of break down everything. Everything I just mentioned, everything that's on stage is on the record. It's being recorded and reported on. So you want to make sure you don't say anything you don't want others to hear. So this is all going to go out there. The roundtables are out there, we divide up into 3 different topics. and it's off the stage, it's off the record. This is your chance to really pick each other's brains, share what's working for you, share what's not working for you, and really talk freely and know it's not going to leave the room. So when the roundtables come up, I definitely guarantee you want to be a part of that. You don't want to step out for phone calls. You want to make sure you join them. And so that's at the end of the morning session today, as well as tomorrow. So we got a